first time that we invited the animals in for the blessing of the animals was back in, I think, 2019. And we thought, well, let's do some very jazzy, exciting music. And we realized very quickly that was a horrific mistake. And so after that, we recognized that if we played contemplative music and had a contemplative service, that the animals participated in a contemplative service right along with us. And it was just been a beautiful thing to see how the animals just join along in that contemplative pacing and service, regardless of wherever they're coming from today. So will you join us in prayer? Come, Spirit, come, fall fresh upon us as we hear these ancient stories and hear their call in our times. And may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable to you, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Okay, friends, we come here today to bless the animals and all of the animals that grace our lives. And by blessing the animals in our lives and in our community, we are reminded of that connection with the rest of God's beloved creation and the interconnectedness of all of life. Because perhaps there is no greater truth than this wisdom from Anatole, France. Until one has loved an animal, a part of one's soul remains unawakened. So this blessing of the animals that we're going to do here today is a ceremony that's most closely connected with St. Francis, whose prayer we opened with today and whose stained glass window graces our sanctuary over by Artie. Now, Francis not only cared for impoverished people, but he also lived as one and founded a movement of monks who live lives of simple poverty out and about in the world. And he wrote songs and he preached to both the birds and to people. In over nearly 8 centuries since his death, many have said that in no other human being has the life of Jesus come more vividly and tangibly alive than in St. Francis. So, I want to begin today by addressing our animal guest first. Welcome. It is good you are here. Our tradition tells us that when God created animals, God looked at animals and declared them good and blessed. That means, and I'm looking at you, Sydney, that you are precious and beloved in this world, not only by your human companions, but also by your Creator, for your own sake. That means that you are precious and beloved in this world, not for what you offer to humanity, but just for your own sacred self. And today we celebrate and we bless you. Now, one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard said about this church is that people feel comfortable being their messy selves here, that they didn't have to be perfect here. So we recognize that it is often hard to be good for 50 minutes. So we encourage our animal companions here to get up, to walk around, to stretch their legs, to make themselves at home, to do whatever they need to feel comfortable in this space and know that they are welcome here. And to know that we hold sacred that when God created you, God looked at you and said, indeed, you are very good. Okay, now back to the humans gathered here today. So for the past few weeks, we have turned to creation for our spiritual lessons. We have learned from air and from earth and from water. And today we turn to our animal companions for their spiritual lessons. And perhaps the greatest spiritual lesson that our animals in our lives offer to those of us who walk with them is their gift of unconditional love. The gift of an animal's unconditional love is one that offers us an example of how to live in the most joyous, non-judgmental, loyal, and accepting manner. An animal's love teaches us how to feel seen and loved for who we are, regardless of how we look or how much money we make or what we achieve in our professional lives. The gift of an animal's unconditional love shows us how to offer constant companionship and unwavering comfort in good times and in bad, maybe especially in bad times. For example, for so many years in the life of our family, as soon as somebody started crying, they would instantly find our grandma pug Indy snuggled in their lap. Now, our animal companions have the ability to teach us so much about how to be in relationship with our fellow human beings. Imagine what life would be like if we loved people in our relationships and in this world the way our animal companions loved us. Imagine what the world would be like if all relationships were based on that sort of unconditional, non-judgmental, and radically accepting love. That is the spiritual lesson that our animal companions offer to us through their simple and unwavering love and affection. If we're open to learning, our animal companions can teach us how to love, and in turn can call us into greater love in and for this world. Now, in her book, titled The Book of Hope, A Survival Guide for Trying Times, the naturalist Dr. Jane Goodall, who recently passed, wrote this: "Let us use the gift of our lives to make this a better world. Let us use the gift of our lives to make this a better world." Now, for those of us who walk with animal companions, the gift of our lives would be that spiritual wisdom of our animal companions and their presence in our lives. And Dr. Goodall calls upon us to use those gifts not only to heal and transform our own lives, but to use those gifts to heal and transform the world. In her book, Dr. Goodall also writes that what we nurture and encourage wins. What we nurture and encourage wins. She wasn't just hoping for a better world. She was telling us that what we feed, what we give power to, will be what will ultimately flourish. What we nurture and encourage wins. Dr. Goodall was telling us that if we feed and nurture that sort of unconditional, joyous, accepting, and non-judgmental love that our animal companions teach us, then that is what will ultimately prevail in this life and in our world. She was telling us that our animal companions teach us that love will prevail. And that is a very, very essential and timely and powerful message for these times.